Hi everyone, this is Ryan B with Practical Forex Trading, and this is your weekly analysis for the Nasdaq 100. The date is February 23rd, 2020. If you want to stay up to date with all of our trading videos, make sure you click that red subscribe button at the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And we do weekly videos, so all kinds of currencies and commodities. The Nasdaq, this is an important one to a lot of folks in the States. Whether you're a trader or just have a 401k, typically a lot of 401ks have some pretty heavy investments in the Nasdaq. Dow Jones, some really depends on how your portfolio diversity goes. Dow Jones is really those top 30 blue chip stocks. So a lot more times you'll see your stocks in averages, these markets like the Nasdaq. And this is just a composite average. But it's a good way to tell which way the market's headed. And the Nasdaq's one that gets a lot of news attention, right? A lot of headlines. So it's good to look at the technicals to know what's really going on, and not just listen to the headlines. They can be scary, right? So let's go ahead and start here. This is our weekly chart. This is the sentiment bullish, meaning price should continue to go up. Watch for the pullback to 9,200. So we see these ascending trend lines over time, right? If I were to pull this here, I would see it represented here as the bottom. This is the next channel over time. Actually stretch this angle out. We see that same pattern again repeat. Now it's not exact, right? Price kind of scribbles across this line, goes above it, comes back below. But then every time it dips below it, it usually shoots back up, finding support. That's what we call support, meaning price visited that point and then continued upwards. So we see support represented there and there. Now this support was reached in 2019. So the good news is that if price were to fall back, even all the way to 8,000, it would still be in a multi-year uptrend. But the even better news is we see recently in the last few weeks, price really rebounded off of this 9,000 point. Right around this range here. See how price action, we had a couple bearish, so red that fell, right? Bearish candles, just a couple small ones, but then a big giant engulfing bullish, which means values just skyrocketed back up and are now holding above this line. So really, first things, I'm not going to be concerned at all unless NASDAQ drops below this 8,900 line. And even then, I wouldn't be so concerned because a revisit to 8,000 would still be on the uptrend, right? So we've got some minor support there. We'll label that a different color. Where price was under here, then it came back down and touched it, but really moving skywards pretty quickly. I note here, watch for a pullback to 9,200. If it were to drop here, it would still be very much on this top ascending trend channel. So those are all good signs. Let's go ahead and move at our fast moving average, because that tells me how is price action really moving smoothed out over a long time frame. So this is 20 weeks. We see price moving way above. So what will happen is if price gets too far above the fast moving average, eventually it'll want to come back down until this catches up. We can see that happen here, right? Price moves up ahead and comes back down and catches up. Comes back down, price average catches up. So a pullback to 9,000 would be even better, more opportunities for buying to ride this uptrend. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the monthly. This one's going to get a bit bigger. Oh, there you go. So this goes all the way back to the early 2000s. This is a strong bullish monthly candle. All-time highs, right? That's a pretty steep trend. I think we can do that with that angle. It looks pretty accurate. So over time, trend lines will broaden out, meaning the angle of the trend is more broad. So the thing to be careful for is now let's go ahead and take these trend lines off, because just as we talked about the moving average, the fast moving average, for the weekly, it applies to the monthly too. Let's move this out of the way. We can see price is moving really far ahead of this fast monthly moving average. There we go. So that means eventually price will have to cool off so this can catch up. So that could be price cools off to this 9,000 range, or remember the deeper trend we talk about all the way to 8,200. That would still be bullish, and just leave more opportunity for good buying. So no worries really, unless we get, like major worries, unless price drops below 7,500. So I'm gonna note that out. Bearish below 7,500. But that's a long way from happening now. As you can see, price is really skyrocketing, moving up. And once it does that, it takes a long time for those trends to break down and that momentum to break down, minus some kind of big geopolitical event. This scenario is not very probable in the near future to happen. So, doesn't mean it's impossible. So, always keep a track of your charts. Nasdaq, you can look at the long term, weekly, monthly. It's not one of those things you have to worry about on the daily. Okay, have a very profitable week, and we'll talk soon.